Today's podcast, we have Phil Carnuccio, owner of Clean Peak Landscaping in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Phil's business, which he owns with his cousin, is 8 years old, and it is solely built on subcontracting. In today's episode, you're going to learn how he got to that business model and why he loves this business model. This podcast is not only about the trials and tribulations of growing to your first 2 million, and not only about how to run a successful business based on subcontracting, but it's also about building a mission-driven business. A lot of people have these ideals, if you will, but Phil really lives them, and you're going to learn very specifically how he uses his business to build up his people and his community. Phil is a new member of one of our Leaders Edge peer groups. And I asked him on immediately to come tell a story because it's so unique. He really kind of brings some excitement to our peer group because of this outside approach he takes to his business, not the normal building up with employees. It doesn't mean he doesn't care about his people. He cares quite a bit. And if you want to learn more about our peer groups that he's also a member of, you can go to jeffreyscott.biz and you can go to the peer group tab and learn all about it and even apply if you're interested. And so I think Phil talks a little bit about what the value he's gotten being a member on the podcast. Are you guys ready for this? Ready to take a new look at subcontracting and building a mission-driven business? Here we go. Phil, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jeffrey. Good to be with you.
Awesome, man. Why don't you jump right in and tell the audience about your current business and current situation?
Yeah, current business. We are actually just one employee, so it's a current team of 3. My cousin, who's a co-owner, and I, and then we have our operations manager who's in the office, and then we have a little bit of a unique structure of the guys in the field, which we can get into. So that's what our current team looks like.
Wait, your current team is 3 people?
Yep.
And how many subs?
There's about 10 or so subcontractors. There's 4 to 5 who are consistently working with us, like not every day, but weekly, on a weekly basis. And so there's about 4 to 5 partner companies, I'll call them. And then 6 or so probably around outside of that, arborists, fertilization people outside of that. So team of like 10 partner companies.
Okay.
I can go into more detail from there. But yeah, we're on target for around $2 million this year. So that's kind of our size. Residential landscape company. We focus primarily on residential, except for snow. We'll do some commercial within snow. But really like our focus in business is people. So, that's why we are the structure that we are, because we want to see people develop. So we have the opportunity to do that with a lot of other partnerships. I'll pause there.
So what's the maintenance mix?
So it's about 60% maintenance, 40% design build.
Okay. I'll get messages from some people, like when I have large companies.
Yeah.
Some really small guys will say, hey, what about a company, closer to our size? And so you have a unique mix for sure. How did you get here? Want to take us back to the beginning a bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, as I've heard many previous podcasts that you've had on, Jeffrey, a lot of people started similar. I was in the same boat, just started with a friend mowing lawns, needed to pay for college. So it was going to my junior year of college. And I was like, college is expensive. I need to be able to pay for it. So I was talking with a friend. He mowed like 7 lawns. I was like, let's start a company. Seemed like a great idea at the time. So made a logo, made a Facebook post at the time, started posting on Craigslist, which actually worked at that time. It's changed a lot since then. Posted on Craigslist, got some jobs, kept busy that summer, was able to pay for my junior year of college, did the same thing my senior year, was able to pay for my senior year of college. So by the time I graduated, I was ready to pretty much go full time. Have a lot of like scary stories that make me very thankful for where we are today, of the trailers, the equipment that we had, like an old wooden trailer that when we would drive down the highway, both sides of the trailer were rattling. Questionable whether we were doing some things properly legally. So super thankful for where we are today. Started just with a few lawns like that, and then had some great mentors, especially in the plant side. A friend named Bobby who ran a nursery, got to learn a lot about design and plants. So that took us more in the design build side. So started pretty simple with maintenance, and then worked into plants. And then if we were doing a front landscape, we were like, well, we might as well be able to build a front walkway with it. And so that then evolved from there.
What were you studying? Did you say?
It just had a mentor who ran a nursery, so just did a lot of hands-on learning with him on what good landscape design.
No. In school, what were you studying?
Oh, got it. Kinesiology. So absolutely nothing to do with landscaping.
Kinesiology is physical therapy. What is that?
Yep. You can do like strength conditioning, physical therapy, cardiac rehab.
Well, I don't know about cardiac, but most of that sounds like very landscape, labor oriented.
Yep. Yeah, it has to do with, I mean, it definitely, you want to be healthy in the field when you're starting a business. So definitely some relative things that I was able to take.
And so you told your parents, I think I'm going to stick with this landscape thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually sat my dad down going into my senior year and I was like, Dad, this is going well. I think what do you think of me stopping school? And he was like, just finish. So I heeded his advice and finished out school. But it was really like ready to be done by the time I was going into my senior year because I was loving being outdoors. I was loving the business. So
how big were you when you graduated?
We were, at that point it was like friends. Like I had a bunch of friends in college. So it was the classic, like I probably had 10 guys and none of them were full time. So we were probably like our first year, maybe $100,000 in revenue. And then the year after that, we typically grew about 50%. So probably, actually at that time we were growing probably 100%. So we were probably like 200,000 by the time I went full-time graduating college.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you're in Westchester, Pennsylvania. That's like the high end of Pennsylvania.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's a nice area. Like average household income is, I think, 150,000. So it's a nice area. There's certainly nicer areas around us. Like Wayne, PA, St. David's, PA. I don't know if you're familiar, but yeah, it's a nice area.
150 is not what it used to be. What is your wealthiest client, just to put it into perspective?
Like their net worth?
Well, their house value.
Probably, I don't know the exact amount. I would probably say their property is worth $5 million.
You could just Google the property and the value pops up.
Yeah. It's been a while. I did. I mean, we've been servicing them for like probably 7 years. So back at the beginning I did, but yeah, probably around there.
Okay.
Yeah. Not like $20 million homes, but a nice home nonetheless.
Well, that's still a nice house for sure.
Yeah.
So how the heck did you get into this model where you're mostly subbing things out?
Yeah. It comes back to our mission. So our mission, I like to condense it down as much as possible. So ultimately we're using landscaping as a tool to impact people. And the longer the impact and the deeper the impact that we can have on people, the better. And so early on, we thought that we could do that just on our customers. And then we realized, gosh, our internal team, there's such an opportunity to impact these people on our team. Especially like my cousin who works with me, my sister who acts as our controller. From there out to now Garrett, who's in the office as an ops manager, out to our employees, out to our customers. So that's always been like truly what motivates me the most. And I would say them as well. And so naturally when we had, I think 5 employees at the time, and none of them we were pouring into them, doing monthly one-on-ones, a lot of good things that I've learned like from you guys are strongly recommended. We were doing it all and they just weren't developing as people in their character. And so it was pretty disappointing. And we kind of reached crossroads where it was like, okay, the whole point for us of doing this is seeing you guys develop. Meanwhile, on the other side, we were developing these great relationships with other experts in the field. Masonry experts, a guy who just focuses on fertilization and weed control, a couple arborists, guys who are more focused on maintenance. So we started working with them organically. And I was just like, my eyes were opening of like, gosh, like we could put together a great team. These people have expertises I do not. None of those things that I just named are my background, as I said. And so we kind of made a decision end of 2023 to just focus on that model to feed those guys work. And so we actually just let go of the employees we had at the time. We pulled the one guy that was in the field, actually two people out of the field, one being my cousin, one being our current ops manager, out of the field, direct overhead. So our profit just plummeted. But it ended up being a good decision so far that it took us about a year to kind of reverse things the other way from a financial perspective.
Okay. Got it. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a gutsy move to just go to all subs.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly subcontractors are important to the industry, but you hear enough war stories about it, I would think, where it would give you pause to jump down that route. So what gave you the confidence?
Yeah.
And how well is it actually going?
Yeah. I would say, I mean, I can't foundationally say that there's no component of faith. There's definitely a component of faith. And whether your faith is like in God or faith in something else, for me, it was a faith in God of like, I felt a strong calling to move this direction because of the opportunity to impact people. And so that's very fundamental for me. So that was the key driver there of like,
But I don't understand the connection because, I mean, if I could just make a little joke here.
absolutely.
So the faith, you want to help people. And so you fired your employees. I mean,
No, I see that confusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a story in the Bible where Jesus like essentially sends his disciples out, which were like his closest people, and he said, "Hey, like go and reach these people, care for these people." And he sent them to all different towns, essentially. And one of the groups he sent got to a town there. What they were working on was not effective, and he actually told them like, "Hey, if it's not effective, what you're doing, like shake your sandals off and keep moving. Like try, but keep moving." And so not that I thought of that story at the time, but that's what's popping in my head right now of like, that's essentially what it was. It's like we put a lot of effort in, we put the intentionality there. It wasn't happening. Meanwhile, on this other side, our gifts were being leveraged. We were able to really impact people. So we just saw that opportunity and the open doors there to use our gifts, use where we're best, and help more people. And so there was a step of faith, but it also made sense of like, we can just leverage a lot more people's giftings better if we change structure.
Well, I could see what you're saying in that subcontractors are all owners, or, you're dealing with owners. So in theory, they could be more motivated to, receiving mentoring.
Yeah. Yeah. Our, like 3 of our core values are hungry, humble, honest. And so by working with these other like small niche guys, they represent that really well. They're hungry. I don't know. I don't know how many people in your community. I haven't talked to too many who have tried like a pay for performance system. We tried that when we had guys in the field, and it wasn't working how we hoped it would.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, these guys over here were very hungry, right? Because they're their own business owner. So to your point, that by pouring into them, it just like compounded.
Pay for performance has some legal obstacles and administrative obstacles, and it can be great, but clearly with the subcontractor, it's sort of built in, isn't it?
Exactly. There's just a natural incentive there, and then you can't put that. It's hard to just put that into someone. Like you can definitely set your company in a way that empowers people. And in my experience, there's definitely ways to do that. But there's nothing you could do to replace someone being their own owner and how hungry they're going to be to grow within that structure.
Yeah.
I also heard you ask like, how's it going? I would say it's going well. There's always ways to improve and grow and make it better, but it's going pretty well. Two of the guys that we work with, one was a previous employee, one kind of heard about what we were doing. So we actually helped them get off the ground in their business. And then our masonry contractor had been in the business for like 15 years, just as an employee. So we found that there's a lot of guys that maybe aren't the best at sales or management, but are really good at the craftsmanship side of it. And so that's kind of the type of contractor we look to partner with.
So it's
So when
gotten
we,
you up to 2 million so far.
yeah, yeah,
We used to work at Jeffrey Scott Consulting. We worked with a gentleman on the East Coast, and he built up a pretty large business, probably about twice your size or 3 times, all subs.
okay,
And I think he was mostly install.
yeah,
And he would do like a recruiting event once a year, and kind of like an open house,
okay.
where he would get to know potential subs and they would get to know him. And so how do you do your recruiting?
I mean, the most powerful way that we've always found people is word of mouth, is mutual connection. Like that's always been the number one way. So two of our best contractors came from the first contractor that we had. So three of them were all connected. And then, I mean, our eyes are always open. There are, every area is different, but in our area, I mean, if I just sit on my front porch, I'll see, if I sat there all day, I'd probably see 40 different contractors going by. So our eyes are always open. We're always asking people. We're always researching. Next door is an app where people post, landscapers post. People are looking for things within your zip code, and so we're always looking who's on there. So I would say the key thing is our eyes are just always open to what's around us. And
So say again, how many full-time employees on the payroll you have? You have 2 others?
Not including the 2 owners, 1. We do have.
And where's your sister in that?
She actually started her own company. We actually helped her start her own controlling company. So at this point, she's technically a subcontractor as well.
Okay.
And then we have an overseas administrative assistant, who we actually just onboarded. So she's technically not an employee either. She's through a third party.
No, I understand. But is she full-time?
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you got a core team of 5.
Yeah.
Do the others feel like, do they feel like they're subs, or do they feel like they're part of your core team?
I would say, I would definitely love to say they feel like they're part of their core team. I would be curious what they would say. But yeah, we've always wanted to make them feel like they're a part of something bigger. So we'll still do like company cookouts where we have all those guys,
Okay.
Company parties, everybody's invited. So it definitely feels like a core team.
Do you give them Christmas bonuses or gifts, or?
Yeah, we're always thinking creatively, and that's where it's a little bit different than like a lot of the industry. When people think of a subcontractor relationship, they might think of a big contractor who's sending out a bid to 10 different guys. Our structure is very different, where we establish unit pricing with them on the front end, agree on the pricing, and then essentially sell jobs for them at their pricing. And then we're just sending them sold jobs. So we're eliminating a whole portion of work for them. And then they just say yes, I want that job. No, I don't want that job.
How do you know you're estimating it correctly for them?
Detailed conversation on the front end and agreed, this is how we estimate. Does that line up with what you guys want and how you would estimate? And then there's always back and forth, depending on the complexity of the job.
Do you involve them in your estimating?
If it's complex, yes. We try to streamline it as much as possible to save time for them. So it's not like a bunch of back and forth selling every job. And we do keep it pretty simple. We don't build full outdoor kitchens. On the design build side, average job size is 15,000. So we do simple back patios, front walkways, front foundation planting. So we keep it pretty simple intentionally to make that all streamlined.
How does your pricing compare to let's say a similar company with all in-house workers?
Yeah. We're competitive. We're definitely not the most expensive. We're not the cheapest. So I would say middle upper end range of the market.
So are you saying you're basically the same price?
We literally did not change pricing when we changed model.
Yeah.
Because of what we were able to take off their plate and what they were able to take off our plate, our pricing didn't even change.
So you really need subs who do not have that full overhead.
Yeah. And now if they did, it would just be a different conversation. with the customer of like, hey, we're going to have this other big brand in the area come in. These people function almost like a seamless part of our team. They don't wear clean peak gear. They don't work for us 100% of the time. There's some legal things like that we avoid. But
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, it's very seamless.
Yeah, I gotcha. And so, but it's like, how long have you been doing this model?
So we started doing it probably about 3 years ago, and then we really picked it up and made that full transition about 2 years ago
I gotcha.
from this month.
So really, you're new to the model.
For sure.
Because
sure.
I suspect you're going to find that some of your subs will mature
Yeah.
and start taking on that overhead and may kind of, grow beyond your ecosystem.
Yeah.
In price and desire or desire.
Right. And it's something we're always thinking about, like what does that lifetime look like of relationship between them and us?
Yeah.
And how do we make it in a way where we can continue to help them, and there's a certain point where we're probably going to learn like, okay, this isn't the optimal fit anymore. You guys should move on, or how do we restructure to make that make sense for both?
You've been in business how long?
About 8 years, 2017. Like I said, I was going into my junior year. So by the time we went full time, it was 2019.
All right. So not that long. I mean,
yeah,
in the big picture.
Right.
And less than half that time doing sub.
Right.
Sub.
Exactly.
It's unique, or it's interesting that you're subbing out that much maintenance. I would think that would be harder, although subbing out fertilizer and irrigation is standard practice, but I would think subbing out standard property maintenance is, it's less standard. Yeah. How is that? Is one area harder or easier than the other?
Yeah. Maintenance is a harder thing in general from like a management perspective, just because there's way more jobs going on at the same time. Like a decent job for us on the design build side might be a week. So the setup and communication is a lot simpler versus the maintenance jobs. They're doing a job a day. One crew is doing a job a day. So yeah, there's more management, but it would be the same if it was an in-house crew in the field. The communication.
One crew does one job a day?
Yeah, for like a spring cleanup, mulch job, fall cleanup, mowing, obviously that's totally different.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's the same amount of work from a management perspective as it was when we had guys in the field. There's communication, there's a job form at the end of the job, there's site photos, there's communication with the customer. If they're experienced enough, they'll do the walkthrough. If they're not, we'll have to have someone on site to do the walkthrough with the customer before and end.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to like in-house guys.
So if we took the mentoring away, took that away completely, the joy of mentoring your subs, would it still be a better model? How would you advise somebody else who's thinking about it?
Yeah.
But not for this specific mentoring reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Just from like a business efficiency standpoint, I would be curious about the area that they live in. Because like I said, I didn't say this, but I don't think we're going to be the first people to have this idea and try to run with this model, because in our area, there's so many contractors, and a lot of them know what they're doing from like industry perspective, a craftsmanship perspective. Like they're really good. They might not be good at sales. They might not be good at communication. They might not be good at setting up repeatable systems, but they're good at all the other stuff. So we're just surrounded by that in our area. So I think if you can build the systems and find the right guys, which takes work, similar to finding good employees, I think it's a great system. But I think it takes, either way, you have to put in the work to find great guys, build good relationships, build systems that keeps everyone accountable or helps them take ownership.
Yeah.
So I do think it's a good system, but you could be in a more remote area where those are hard to find, but then it's probably hard to find in-house employees as well. So I don't know. I think if there's good employees or it's a saturated area with employees, there's probably also a lot of contractors who are looking for more work.
Is it harder to find the subs when the economy peaks up, is booming, or
We probably haven't been doing it long enough. We'll probably find out sooner or later, like what that feels like.
have you
Probably
lost contractors with like, I'm just too busy, I can't take your work, Phil?
not yet, not yet. Because basically, like in the onboarding, a key part is, hey, are you looking? Do you have 50% capacity? Like if you don't have 50% capacity, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So we've been able to find those guys who do have 50% capacity. We wouldn't take someone on as a partner if they have like 10% of their schedule open. Just wouldn't make a lot of sense. Unless they're a very specialty service like an arborist, which we do have some of those partners, but they're not the ones working with us week in and week out.
Now the maintenance subs, you're going to want them to grow their capacity.
Yeah. And that's been a conversation of what is the perfect size of the partner, because like if they have 5 teams, it is different. Like most of our guys right now is the owner and a few guys, 3 to 4 guys.
You're saying it's the owner on the property.
Yep. The owner's almost, there's always an owner on a property, and that's ideal for us because we want them to take ownership.
So
of the
as
job.
you grow, you're going to have more maintenance. Are you going to ask your partner to grow?
We would root it back to the mission of like what is best for them. And so we still have like monthly meetings with them. And so that conversation is like, hey, where are you at? How's your health? Like all the foundational things. How are you doing? How's your health? How are your guys? What's your desire? A lot of them might not even have clear vision. So my partner Danny and I were even talking like, how do we help these guys? Like it's not our company, but we still have a responsibility and an opportunity to help them have a vision. So we're kind of working through that. What is their vision? Helping them think about that, and then coming alongside them using Clean Peak as a tool. If their vision is to grow, and some guys it might not be. Some guys it might just be to be really efficient with 3 guys. In which case we're like, great. But if their vision is to grow, we're going to do that, and then we'll see how that works in terms of how they work with us.
I assume you guys remain the account managers.
Yeah. Yep.
And do you have to be your own project manager on the install?
Yep.
You do.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we're actually interviewing for that position right now. But yep.
I think a key question for subbing install is, do they buy the materials or do you supply them?
Yeah. We haven't found like one specific way that works best yet. I'm pretty picky on the plant side of it. So we provide the plants. On the hardscape side of it, they'll provide the hardscape material. So that's the way we have it set up right now.
So you provide the plants, you mark up the plants.
Yep.
They provide the stones. And so if they're chipping stones, it's on them. If there's rework, it's on them.
Yep.
But are they allowed to make markup on the materials? How does that work?
Yeah, they can. That's part of the conversation we have early on of, if their pricing doesn't fit the model, then we have to have a conversation of like, hey, here's where do you need pricing to be? Here's where we would need it to be. Does this fit? Is the markup that we need there? Is there margin? And then if there's not, I'll just say like, hey, the numbers don't work. Do you want to work that down in order to have this constant flow of work? Is that worth it to you or not? So ultimately, like whether they mark up that one material doesn't so much matter. Is more like where their total pricing is landing in comparison to what fits the model.
So tell us about your vision for the future.
Yeah. Our vision is like the very broad vision is create eternal impact on people. So we know if we impact one person, they can impact 3 people, can impact 10 people. So everything that we do is like create eternal impact, build community, build long-term relationships. And so right now that's landscaping. We think that'll probably evolve. Like one day we would love to have a property. We currently don't own a property, we rent. And so we'd
So
love to have,
you're giving me your mission, and I'm not trying to correct you. I'm just trying to
yeah.
segment what we're talking about here. So I get your mission.
Yep.
Tell me like the vision. Where's this company going to be in 3 years?
So I can read you our vision versus our mission, but our mission is impact contractors and customers using Clean Peak landscaping and creating simple solutions to impact people. Our vision is what we envision is creating a community of people that are being impacted. So it's just a broader thing. So
Yep.
it's more than just like a revenue target, which we do build revenue targets out of that. But I've always like tried to reverse engineer it, and I care about the numbers, like I care about the revenue targets, but I've always like been bothered if all we make is the revenue target, because I'm like, and I still don't have an answer for this, but I'm always wondering, can we make people the vision even and the mission and build all of our revenue targets out of that? And so even when I describe our vision, all I'm talking about is people. Not to say we don't have specific financial targets. So where I was going was we'd love to have a property to be able to create more community, impact more people. So we know the numbers need to be in a certain place to get there. We know our organizational chart, our org chart needs to be in a certain place to be able to afford that property, the type of property we want. So like out of the desire to impact people and build a community and what that would feel like, it starts to provide some structure for where our numbers need to be to buy that property. We have some vision around like what that property could be used for. And so we know there needs to be financials and organization for that. So without getting like over granular, some of the numbers that we want to be at in 3 years is $5 million around. We're making some of our next key hires, which are project manager, salesperson on the design build side. We just onboarded the administrative assistant, virtual, and then an account manager on the maintenance side. Those would be like our next 3 key hires.
So when you say property, do you mean property that you would then rent to your subs?
That would be one of the uses. Yep.
What
Rent
would
to
the
the subs.
others be?
Others would be, one would be materials, be able to store bulk materials, bring in plants, right? Like we do that on a small scale, but as things grow, that's going to become harder and harder. So be able to bring in a lot more plants, have irrigation set up, and then ultimately create a space that can build community, act as a showroom for customers. So we can, create an outdoor space where there's a patio, water feature, plantings, all this stuff where we can have it as a showroom, have it as a space to host events in the community, get to know people. And there's some things around that, have seasonal activities, and just make it like a community space that also doubles as a showroom. It would have to be like a property that's split into like rental area and then like community area. But yeah.
Okay. You have questions for me? You said you did. You were warning me ahead of time.
I always have questions. One of my biggest questions for you is like in talking to all these different contractors. I mean, I listen to your podcast as they come out. Is there you probably don't always get the chance to talk about it. Is there something in you that's like either excitement or fear, if you were to pick like one thing on each side of like, this is where the industry is going, something should be done, this is what I'm seeing, no one's really thinking about it, but it's even just coming off the conference we just did. Is there something in your head, because you have a lot of perspective, that you're like...
That's a little bit of a general question. Can you just add a few more words to the question?
Sure.
So I know what you're asking.
I'll just start on the positive side. Is there something, an opportunity within the industry that you wish someone was taking advantage of that no one is really, whether it's a business model, whether it's a way to do business, whether it's a service focus, that you're like, not enough people are aware of this, and you're putting out content all the time, so you might already be addressing it. But is there something?
I mean, you're asking me, do I have a surprise up my sleeve that I have yet to unfold?
Basically. Yep.
God, that's such a big general question. Well, I mean, we could look at it from the government perspective. Why don't we just have some kind of immigration reform where we can secure a workforce if we had, if I mean, listen, I'm preaching to the choir here, right? If we had a secure workforce, this industry would take off even more. And so we don't, and I don't want to get into why we don't, but which means that mechanization and automation will really be welcomed with open arms. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing that continue to develop. Now, there's nothing new in that, but, governments usually are not consistent, but it's interesting how consistent they've been across parties to be, to not want to deal with the workforce issues in H2B. It's been very consistent. And so that the opportunity is rife there. And I think with AI coming on, that will help. But it's kind of like software and hardware. Like you look at Apple as a model where they develop their own software and their own hardware, which made them so brilliantly successful. And so that's really the opportunity in our industry.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
I love that. So now let's, like, if we flipped it to the negative side, what do you think too many people are doing in the landscape industry or distracted by? Because like labor is a huge thing, and I hear that all the time. What are you hearing people in our industry be distracted by that you're like, we gotta not be so distracted. Too many people are doing this, and we need to stop. Like, is there anything that you think our industry needs to stop doing?
So that's not the same thing as fear, which you brought up 2 minutes ago. I'm going to answer your question directly. But the fear question is a much bigger question.
Well, it could be related.
No. I'm going to answer your question. So I think too many companies don't figure out their niche, and they bounce around and they chase squirrels. They open up. Hey, we could do A, B, C, D, E, and F. Let's go do all of those.
Yeah.
We just held the Summer Growth Summit at Showgrounds Management. And what did he say? We cut grass, we push snow, something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which I'm sure bummed out people that are into craftsmanship and install and horticulture, but they know what they do.
Right.
And you can't copy somebody else's niche necessarily. Geographies are different. I mean, anybody who's in the snow industry will tell you that.
Yeah.
Different geographies, snow contracts are written differently, and what you can do is different. And so figuring out your niche and then scaling that niche, it takes people a while to figure that out. Where we're really good, where do we see how we can multiply what we're doing in our marketplace? And too many companies just chase too many things. You should say yes when you're young as a company.
Changes.
And then start saying no. And I don't think that companies figure out that no quick enough. They don't figure out the strategy that's really working for them. And so, I mean, I don't know if not sure that's what you're looking for, but that's a common.
100%. That's a big issue. Yeah. I mean, you just pointed out we struggle with that every day. Like that's a conversation we have almost every day of like, guys, what are we saying no to? What are we saying? And it's really hard. It's really hard. It takes a lot of intentionality.
Because you're 2 million and you're in a few different directions.
Yeah. You mean of like our model and the services that we offer and things like that, or
the services you offer?
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying offering multiple services is wrong, but that means you're in the customer satisfaction business. And you better be staffing up and getting the margins for it. Clearly, I mean, I almost didn't want to say this, but new contractors don't recognize what they should be charging for their work. And they're starving themselves and their own people by selling out of their own pocket based on their own poverty mentality or just the way they were raised. And when you get into our community, we're definitely going to help you see that, but that's sort of a shame. You see guys who are start off, or get gals, in general, start off small. and they're smart enough to get bigger, and why don't they? And that's one of the
Mhm.
reasons.
Yeah. Is there I think I heard someone talk about it. I believe it might have been on one of your podcasts, Jeffrey. A percent of the dollar that you feel is essentially what a subcontractor is providing compared to what we're providing. Is there a way to break up the dollar that you see or that you've heard um, that that person should typically be claiming within the dollar versus what we're providing on the
I don't know if I
management?
understood. Are you saying when you sell your work, how much should go to the sub?
No, like of the dollar you have the field labor, the equipment, that stuff, and then you have the sale process, the management, the communication, all that side of it. And so I've heard different people try to break up like how much of a dollar should go to each of those by percentage.
I,
And now
we'd have to look at your P&L.
not
To,
just ours, just in general, like of the dollar and
no, but I'm saying there's not really a general uh, answer. I mean, there might be for niches, commercial maintenance, design build,
yeah, it changes
but then it
depending.
depends if you're staffing
Yeah.
up to grow or you're trying to keep it small.
Yeah.
Um, but there's definitely benchmarks. I mean, we do that
Yeah.
within our peer group. So
Yeah.
uh, you have full access to those benchmarks and you can see within the niche how
Yeah.
they break up. But what I would say is, let's go back to not charging enough. And so people don't charge enough for recovering the cost of equipment. They don't charge enough to for cash flow. What do I need to float this to pay my bills and grow? And that takes profit, which is cash. So equipment, uh, they don't charge enough for themselves when they're smaller, and so they're always like missing some profit, or they're not sure where, and it's
Mm.
because uh, they're not recognizing their role as the owner. And so I think as you get larger, you start to overcome some of these issues.
Yeah.
And then they're like, how much money should I make? What should the profit be?
Yeah.
And, you know, uh, people just follow what they hear in the street. Oh, 5%, right? That's what
Yep.
I hear you should make. So that's what I'm going to make. And 5% to me is zero, basically. If you want to think about cost of capital to grow your business, you've just shrunk it down to now you're breaking even. And so where is that going to get you, right? So it doesn't get you anywhere fast.
Yeah. And the reason I ask is because it's been really like a driving question from the beginning of um is there a way rather than like trying to take advantage of people that are new to business and say, oh, well, it works right now, but as they grow, it won't work. Is there, and it's worked so far. So we'll have the answer to this maybe in 5 years or so. But is there a way where because of the simplification of what they're focused on and what we're focused on, that the pricing actually does work long term? That's the big question. That
I think you're looking for a forever answer that isn't really there.
Yeah, and
So
that's
in your case, I would build out your org chart, put the costs in it, and build out next year's budget and even the year after, and see how it impacts your pricing. So I guess I am
Yep.
answering your question, and then start to price forward on that. Gosh, if we add that, you told us earlier, salesperson, project manager,
Yep.
let's call it a full overhead um, setup.
Yep.
Put that into your budget, see what it does to your price.
Right.
And if it lets you lower your price, hey, great. I don't think that's going to be the case.
No.
And if it says, oh, we need to be charging more, well, then now that tells you now you should start charging that ahead of time, not 2 years ahead of time, but be
Yep.
ahead of it so that when you're selling work a year out or, as you're selling that work that you can, that you don't get yourself in a pickle, and you don't want to really be raising your prices dramatically year over year. So that's why you would want to do that budget a couple years out,
Yep.
and make sure you're
Yep.
within target.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So that's what I would do,
Yeah.
especially in your case where you've got, you have subs, and so it just seems like a variable cost. where you don't have to worry about it as much. And I could see where that could lull you into like not being as laser focused on your numbers as you should be.
Right. Yeah, because there's a lot of variables that are being removed that you don't have to keep your eyes on. Yeah.
Yeah. And you said you're a mission-based business, or my words. You're a
Yep.
mission-based business, and you kind of said numbers, they're important too. Well,
Yeah.
you better make them equally important.
Yep. Oh yeah, they're both. Yeah, without the numbers, the mission that goes to nothing. So both matter.
God gave Moses 2 tablets. One
Yep.
had all the numbers on it, I think, and the other had the 10 commandments. I think that's actually how it's divided out.
You absolutely need both, and I hope I didn't come across as like you don't need the numbers. You absolutely need the numbers.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just reflecting here.
Well, you're a numbers guy, so that's why I joined the group, and that's where you provide a lot of value. So, no, I'm glad you're saying it.
Yeah. Listen, I'm all for mission-based businesses. You're going to do fabulous as long as you keep the distractions out, keep your mission alive and well every single week. I actually think your mission's written a little bit too narrowly.
Okay.
Meaning, well, repeat back your mission and I'll tell you what I mean.
Okay. Yeah. I don't want to shorten it too much because I always go with like the paraphrase version. But basically, using Clean Peak Landscaping as a tool to impact customers and contractors through simple solutions.
All right. You should remove one word from that mission.
What's that?
Can you guess?
One word.
All right. He's thinking this is a podcast, so we can't be too
Clean Peak
silent.
Landscaping's 3. Customers or contractors, one of those.
You should remove the word landscaping.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so the way I view mission is the short-term focus.
Well, no, just go with me. You should remove the word landscaping. Here, I'm going to give you a safe way to absorb this. So Drost Landscaping used to be a client. By the way, I think you heard me say this. Now I'm doing a little segue. Mariani has purchased a few of our clients, and only the ones where we personally coached the owners in the company. And I had that recognition. I feel really good. So the clients that we coached, and they didn't hire us to get bought. They hired us to get better and a lot better. And our coaching has been so impactful that it's just the coaching clients that, got that serious offer and got bought by them. So it makes me feel really good about our coaching. But in any event, Bob Drost hired us to coach. And somewhere along the way, they rebranded under just the word Drost. And they got rid of the word landscaping. And so I think you should, in your mission at least, rebrand and take the word landscaping out. Not if you told me yourself that you want to kind of provide real estate. Now, to the client, it's landscaping, but to them, you're providing them the Clean Peak support umbrella. Right. And it could go beyond landscaping itself as well. So I just think that's what I think. That's my feedback.
I agree. Landscaping is not the price. It's just Clean Peak's a tool for what you said. It's an umbrella tool to be leveraged in multiple different facets, not just landscape.
Yeah.
I'm on board. I like it.
That's my feedback.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to take your route and start doing subcontracting, and maybe they're a larger company and they've been thinking about it, but man, you hear a lot of horror stories. I want to go back to that.
Yeah.
Where you just can't control the subcontractor. It bites you in the butt as the account manager to the client. And so how do you control that? If you wanted to add subcontracting to one of your divisions for somebody listening, give us your advice.
I mean, so how do you control a good, or what you might call a good employee, or how do you control employees that are in the field?
Okay, I know that's a
you don't have to answer
question, but Keep going.
You don't have to answer it, but I mean, at the end of the day, like it comes down to the relationship that you've built, the trust that's there, the systems that you've built within the company to create a structure that keeps everyone aligned, provides a backbone for what the expectations are, what they're
So
doing.
restate it. I mean, I think you're answering it, but I want you to hammer it home. Tell us to do these three things. What are the
Yeah.
three things somebody should do?
Number one, build a great relationship with them as much as possible. Number one. So for us, that starts with the first meeting. We sit down, we build a relationship. It's not just a phone call and then like we're sending bids. Hey, bid this. There's no relationship. And so
Yep.
there's no trust.
Yeah.
So trust is a huge part. And if I failed to mention it in our mission statement, it's in our mission statement. Like we're building trust. So you got to build trust, step one. Step two, I would say systems and processes for what the expectations are, how they're going to operate, how you're going to operate, and how that blends together.
So it's like a playbook.
Absolutely. Whether or
Yeah.
not it's an employee or a subcontractor. And everyone listening knows that you need systems, but in this model, you need them all the more, right? Because they're
Yep.
their own business. I mean, honestly, I would will it down to those two things. I'll think of what the third would be, but maybe you can, Jeffrey. I would mainly
I
say
heard you state it. You have a monthly check-in with them.
Yeah. Yep.
Not about specifically Mrs. Jones, but I'm assuming, but a check-in on how all the mutual commitments are going.
Yeah. Yep. It's an ongoing relationship. And so it needs work and it needs conversation. Consistent. I mean, weekly conversation in a small way, and then monthly in like a deeper, at least hour typically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you joined our peer group community back, what was the date?
Beginning of this year, actually. So it was I think January, February.
So name like one thing you've learned or one person you've met that's inspired you. Just something.
Oh man, it's hard.
Okay,
There's been so much.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the key drivers for me, like I love people, so I could name so many people that I've met that are phenomenal. I've learned a ton from. But the benchmarking that you get, not just the benchmark report itself, but just the conversations like our Hickory group has, a text message back and forth. So that's invaluable to have 20 other or so people in a group that you can ask questions to, you can provide things that they're looking for. And so that constant back and forth, that's super valuable. And so in that, it could be pricing questions. So, but the benchmarking and just understanding the industry as a whole, my knowledge has grown. I don't know. I can't put a percent to it. A lot in the past year.
Tenfold, probably, right?
Yeah. From that network of those people, from the benchmarking report that you put together.
I think you're making a great distinction. So there's benchmarking the financials.
Yeah.
But there's benchmarking in any question. Hey, how do you handle XYZ?
Right.
That becomes a sort of benchmarking discussion.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Who's your favorite person in the peer group? I'm just kidding. Don't answer it.
Oh,
so,
Lorena.
It's got to be Craig Bot.
I'm not going to pick a favorite, but I love I mean, there are so many great people. I think what blew me away right away, and regardless, like I would encourage Jeffrey Scott's peer group, but the thing that blew me away that I haven't been in other peer groups, so I can't compare it, was just the level of transparency and like open feedback. Like my first time there, it was in the spring. Everyone's just sitting at a round table, and if something sticks out that someone said or in their benchmarking that like sticks out, people in a loving way will address it and talk through it. And that could be a lot. I mean, we were just talking about it over this when we were there at the conference. Yeah. That it could be a lot for that person receiving it, but at the end of the day, like it's the hard feedback that they need. And so super valuable to have people as you build a relationship that can speak into that, because if you're the owner, like who else is going to do that? So that's what stuck out to me right away, is like people will tell you what you need to hear.
It is literally one of the driving values when I started this, like literally at the beginning. And I remember, because I had a mentor, I used to be in a peer group of generalists, not landscape, when I ran my family's landscape company. And I talked to the guy who was my leader about what I was going to do. And he was one of the top leaders in the country, if not the world.
Wow.
He was in Vistage, or it was Vistage.
Yeah.
I was in Vistage.
Yep.
And so he mentored me on asking for transparency. And, it's a little more complex than I'm saying it here, but basically creating that transparent environment up front would really pay off. And that's kind of one of our core values.
That's cool to hear that it's a core value, because it's definitely being lived out. That's the culture of the group.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So what do you do for fun?
For fun, I said it, I think at the beginning, but love being outdoors. So growing up, it was sports. Played just about every sport that there was, lacrosse. I actually played a couple years in college. Love sports, love being outside. So right now what that looks like is, on summer vacation, I'll get some surfing in. My grandparents own a beach house, so we'll make a trip there once in the summer.
Where?
Say that again.
Where's the beach house?
Ocean City, New Jersey.
Okay.
So my dad's a paddleboarder, so getting to be out on the water with him is amazing. We'll do a little bit of wakeboarding. We'll do some snowboarding in the winter, some pickleball, some basketball. So sports are a huge thing. And then family. Family. I was blessed to grow up in a big family, so spending as much. And then I married into a family with 7 kids, so 2 big families. So we spent a lot of time with family.
So you're Italian, I presume.
Yeah.
And
Carnuccio.
Yeah. Is your wife?
She is not. Her last name's Campbell, so completely not, definitely not Italian.
How has she handled the Italian? Listen, my grandfather's from Italy, so I'm totally. I grew up with a lot of Italian.
Yeah.
In Connecticut, and it can be pretty intense.
Yeah.
The big hug.
Right. I think it was a little bit intense, especially because people are just loud. Like, to get a word in, you have to like cut people off, which I know for my mom was a shock. I think it's been similar for her. Like, she grew up in a big family, so I think she was expecting it. But I think still she was like, wow, like, this is a lot. People want to be together till like late at night all the time. Like, so we've had to meet in the middle and figure out what that looks like. But I think she's enjoyed it. She loves being there, but definitely a cultural realization for her that I didn't even realize wasn't normal.
My wife's always telling me that I'm always cutting her off. I'm always getting in trouble.
Yep.
So I'm gonna have her listen to this end of the podcast. She'll probably throw the phone at me, but
yeah. That's just like, that's how my family operates. People are talking.
Hey, listen, I appreciate your sharing, transparency. I think we covered a lot of cool things here.
Yeah.
Give us your final word. You asked me for some advice and stuff.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about that's happening in the green industry?
Most excited about that's happening in the green industry. From what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, like, there's just things are moving faster and faster, right? Which is super exciting. Technology. We could have a whole discussion just on technology, but things are evolving really quick. I think there's a lot of people that have smart minds that I've been able to hear that are like, hey, we're elevating this industry. There's a lot of people that are saying that. Let's elevate the industry. So I think that's super exciting. I think, and I've heard other people say this, things are going to continue to change rapidly in the next 5 to 10 years. And so I feel blessed that I'm in the industry to get to be a part of that and watch that. And then at the same time, I hope that people, including myself, it's a practice, like, continue to learn how to slow down, pause, have time daily in the morning to like center your mind and not let the rapid evolvement of technology and everything in business and entrepreneurial ideas like run you off the railroad. So I guess they're both. I'm excited, but I also like don't want to throw caution in the wind, and I'm speaking to myself, but continue to stay centered, slow down, build relationships, go slow enough to not run people over. It's a fine balance.
Phil, this has been great. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeffrey. It's been awesome to get to talk to you more.